वैसे नहीं
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
So, good evening everyone. I am Dharya M. Thakkar, a proud part of Wings of Vikasa, and today I am thrilled to welcome each one of you here to another insightful session under our flagship series, Gyan Yagna, where learning meets real-world wisdom. In today's fast-paced financial world, investing is more than just numbers, and news is about mastering your mind and making the right decisions at the right time. That's what we are here to explore this evening, the golden rules and the right psychology for investing. And to walk us through in this fascinating journey, we have with us a personality whose experience and insights will help us, which has also helped many decode the art and science of investing. CA Aditya Khemani, sir. Good evening. But before we officially dive in, let's hear from the visionaries behind this enriching initiative. To formally kick off, and before we formally kick off, we are pleased to announce that this Gyan Yagna series, with respect to this session, has been in collaboration with Nagpur branch. And I humbly request Vinod Agrawal sir, chairman of Nagpur branch, to formally kick off today's session.
Dhairya chairman, Vinodji is chairman Vikasa. He's not there, but Pratik Palanji is there, who would be speaking instead of Vinod Bhai.
Okay.
So Pratik, you can just unmute yourself and please talk.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes, sir, you're audible.
In absentia of Vikasa Nagpur chairman, C. Vinod Agrawal ji, I am managing committee member C. Pratik Palan. I welcome you all on behalf of Nagpur Vikasa as well as Vikasa WRC to this session, today's seminar on stock market. Friends, it's my pleasure to welcome you all. It is my maiden welcome speech in the platform of Vikasa, the absentia of our Vikasa chairman of Nagpur and a good old friend of mine. Friends, in the recent past, it has been seen that all the students, especially among the CA students, members of our fraternity, there has been a lot of craze about the stock market. There's a lot of each and every CA student, whatever CA student I have came, there is a lot of fantasy. There is a lot of fantasy. Close the mic, voice. There is a lot of fantasy among the CA students as regards the stock market is concerned. I suppose most of you might be dealing in shares, might be investing using your parents' money, maybe guiding your fathers, guiding your parents for proper investment, being a part of this curriculum. Yes, from my student life, I have had a lot of fantasy. When he is just a teenager, even he is also into this stock investing, analyzing various ratios, So definitely, as far as CA students are concerned, one has to be updated with the stock market. Friends, stock market, when it comes to stock market is a place where people with money and people with experience come together. At the end, what we see, people with money take away the experience, and people with experience take away the money. And this cycle keeps on repeating. So today we have a very learned and a very expert in the subject, see Aditya Khemani ji with us. And definitely with his guidance, we will be in a position to make a good and sound investment decisions. I am sure Aditya sir will be able to guide us in a very mature and a very technical, he's a technically sound person. In fact, Aditya sir, in quite a number of members event also, we have invited him to speak on the topic of stock market. He himself is a stock market enthusiast, and it will be a great pleasure for us to have you, sir. I thank Aditya sir for accepting our invitation and to grace this seminar. I also recognize the presence of WRC Vikasa, CA Jiten Saglani sir, Chairman of WRC, CA Ketan Sayya sir, the dynamic team of Vikasa WRC, whom I can see a lot of faces virtually. Tanishka, I can see Parth, Tanishka, Dhairya Thakkar, and Madhur. And apart from that, we also a dynamic team of Vikasa who is sitting with me right here in Nagpur. We have we have Vansh Pardesi, Vikasa committee member, Disha Tahilyani, Ashu Mahajan, and Pratik Vanjari, Radhika Kalantri, all the dynamic members of Vikasa Nagpur. I recognize all the presence of all these Vikasa team who has been working hard to make their student event for the students a success. So finally, thank you very much for your gracious presence. And in fact, let me bring to the attention, this is the very first time at Nagpur, we are hosting the event in a hybrid mode, which is virtual as well as physical. Physical, we have quite number of students sitting in front of me right at this moment at Nagpur. And virtually also, a lot of people have joined the event virtually also. I sincerely thank Vikasa, WRC Vikasa Chairman Jiten Saglani sir for this initiative, for guiding us in this particular hybrid mode of conducting this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratik sir, for your kind and energetic words. Up next, I would be requesting our dynamic chairman, CA Jitendra Saglani sir, to share his thoughts on this session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dhairya. Chairman of WRC, CA Ketan Sayya sir. Chairman of Vikasa Nagpur in absentia, CA Vinod Agarwal ji. Committee member at Nagpur branch, CA Pratik Palan. Team Vikasa at WRC and Team Vikasa at Nagpur. The wings of Vikasa, Tanishka, Dhairya, and all my dear students, a very warm welcome to you all in this 10th session on the capital markets. This being the Gyan Yagna series and having this last session today in the capital market. Friends, we have kept this session because I think everyone thinks that it's very important. You should understand. I'll request Pratik bhai to please mute your.
सर आप सब अपना माइक म्यूट कर दीजिए, प्रतीक सर आप भी और अपना आदित्य सर आप भी अपना माइक म्यूट करिए ना सर. साउंड प्रतीक सर अपना साउंड है ना लिफ्ट कर दीजिए वहां से.
Yeah. So the very the very idea of having this session at a very fag end was that when it comes to investing, but then it's not just tools that help us because market mein to tools ab sabhi ke paas mein hai, but it is the mindset, it's the psychology that actually helps us to navigate. That is the reason we have this session in the very fag end, and we have none other than Sri Aditya Khemani, the speaker of today's session, who would be guiding us through in this beautiful session. And I look forward to a very interesting insights that he would be sharing in today's session. I see Vinod Agarwal ji has joined, and I'll request Vinod bhai, since he's traveling, but before Ketan sir addresses, I'll request Vinod bhai to please do the honors. And thank you once again, Aditya bhai, for helping us and carving this entire series, and looking forward to a meaningful interaction and wonderful learning. With these words, thank you so much. Over to MOCs.
Thank you, sir, for such warm welcome. And now we have Vinod Agrawal sir, Vikasa chairman from Nagpur, who have joined us. So I would request him to share his thoughts on the same.
Thank you, Parth. A very good evening to all the dignitaries, especially Ketan Sayya sir, Chairman WRC, Jitin Saglani sir, Chairman Vikasa WRC, my colleague in the council Pratik Palanji, all the Vikasa committee members of Vikasa WRC and Vikasa Nagpur. Dear students, when Jitin Saglani sir told me that we can have this program offline at Nagpur, offline and on webinar mode, on a hybrid mode, I was more than happy because capital investment in capital market or working environment in capital market is nowadays become a very complex task. Few of you may disagree with my statement, but I'll tell you, in this very world of AI, there are various misleading informations, various misleading apps, various misleading. If you'll scroll through your Instagram or Facebook, you will see various apps who are resembling like those of Anil Singhvi ji or Vijay Kedia ji, though they are not belonging to or they are not connected in any ways to Anil Singhvi ji or Vijay Kedia ji or any or other eminent uh, market player. तो इस एज में इस एआई की एज में इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड एंड देन सेकंड थिंग इज माइंडसेट राइटली pointed out by Jitin Saglani sir that mindset is equally important and at this very age when at very stage at when you are studying Aditya Khemani sir will probably guide you better. That means what? That means he'll probably give you a checklist do's and don'ts at this junction at the in the capital market. So that can be very beneficial for you. And yes, this course is very rightly curated by entire WRC team in able leadership of Ketan sir and Jiten sir, and ably supported by Aditya sir. I thank you, Aditya sir, for coming there on our short invitation and for guiding our students. Thank you all. Happy learning.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words. To further elevate today's session, I now invite our constant support, WIRC Chairman CA Ketan Sayya sir, to address the audience and guide us with these insightful thoughts.
Thank you so much, Dhairya, for your kind words. Chairman Vikasa, Western India Regional Council, Jitendra Bhai, Chairman Vikasa, Nagpur branch, Vinod Ji Agarwal, respected speaker, and the people from Nagpur branch, all the students who have joined online as well as physically at Nagpur branch. The Vikasa buddies who have joined here, the wings of Vikasa, which we are calling now, all of them who have been enthusiastically working on the entire series of Gyan Yagna. What drives the market is actually the demand and supply. In simple terms, sales of any commodity, including shares, is driven by its demand and supply. When the demand and supply comes, when a person thinks that he wants to buy or he wants to sell, and these matches, the sale and the price of 1 or 2% count, and then matching audible now.
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry for the interruption. I'm so sorry for the interruption. So, friends, it is ultimately a mindset and a psychology of a person who is thinking about buying or selling. And the trade happens when two-person thinks in exactly opposite direction that I want to buy and other person thinks that I want to sell. When these two different thought processes matches, then the trade happens. And that is where the psychology, to understand the psychology is important. And when masses think that they want to buy, the price rises. And when I'm extremely sorry. I think I'm on my way. I'm extremely sorry for that. It is very important session to understand the psychology of the people, and that's where this session will play an important role in the entire series of capital market. And let's listen to the worthy speaker on this psychology and the golden investing ideas. With this, I thank the entire team of Vikasa for curating this program, for a wonderful hosting of this program. Let me congratulate Nagpur branch also for hosting today's session in a physical mode and in a hybrid mode. I was told by Pratik Bhai initially that this is first time you are hosting a program on a hybrid mode. I will request you that keep hosting on hybrid mode because Nagpur branch is attached with so many study chapter, be it Gondia, Yavatmal, Chandrapur. I think once you start hosting on a hybrid mode, the student from study chapters will able to join this type of program. So request to Vikasa Nagpur that keep hosting program in a hybrid mode and inform to all the study chapters under your branch so they can join, the student can join on an online mode. With this, once again, thanking the team Vikasa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ketan sir, for such motivating and thoughtful message. Now comes the most awaited moment for the evening. Let us get to know more about our esteemed speaker. For this, I would be calling Tanishka Soni, fellow host and a wing of Vikasa, to take over and walk us through the inspiring journey of our esteemed speaker, CA Aditya Khemani sir.
Thank you. It is a privilege to introduce today's speaker, CA Aditya Khemani, a finance professional with expertise in investment advisory, taxation, audits, and stock markets. He is a chartered accountant and has cleared all 3 levels of the CFA program in his first attempt, a rare and impressive feat. During his CA journey, he cleared CPT and intermediate in his first attempt with exemptions in key subjects at the final level. He holds a finance degree from Christ University, Bangalore, graduating with First Division and 163 academic credit. He is the founder of Aditya Consultants, managing over rupees 5 crores in investments and advising on portfolios worth more than rupees 10 crores. Previously, he worked with Sibin and Associates, auditing firms with revenues above 200 crores and handling over 10,000 financial entries. His tax experience spans GST, income tax, and Section 10AA, with returns ranging from 50 lakhs to 2 crores. He is also an active market analyst using tools like the RSI, MACD, and volume trends, and has co-authored research on the calendar effect in Indian markets. He contributes to the ICI Capital Market Committee, supports Vikasa, and ranked 3rd in GMCS during his CA final. Please join me in welcoming CA Aditya Khemani. Over to you, Dheerya.
I guess Aditya sir would be starting ASAP any minute.
Hello.
Yes, Madhur?
Uh, I think there is some technical issue due to which it is not audible to Aditya sir. I'll just try to reach him out. Give me a minute.
Yeah, sure.
आदित्य सर आपके यहाँ से माइक ऑन करिए, आपके यहाँ पे माइक म्यूट है.
I request Mahir, Mihir to formally welcome CA Aditya Khemani sir with the green card as a gesture of our appreciation. Aditya Khemani sir to enlighten us with his insight on the stock market, its structure, behavior, opportunity, and the analytical lens a CM observer. Sir, overview.
Hello? Yeah, am I audible? Please confirm. Yes, please. Not an issue. That is we can take laptop.
Zoom, you are able to listen on Zoom also, my voice.
पीपीटी उसमें शेयर होंगी ना कैमरा में किसी का यहाँ से कर सकते
Okay.
कैमरा को अपन पूरी तरह मुड़ा कैमरा को अपन पूरी तरह कर सकते हैं दूसरा लैपटॉप लगा के इसको डालना से ओके अभी आ
Yes, yes, yes.
Up start. Hi, am I audible? I'm so sorry for the disturbance.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Right. I'll just share my screen. I'm so sorry for this delay. We are also trying this for the
No,
first time.
no problem, sir. No problem. No problem. That's completely okay.
Is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible as well. So completely handing over to you. I'll be there for backend queries.
Right. So we'll start with the presentation. And so I'm very thankful for the opportunity given by the branch and also WIRC. And I'll try to make justice to your time. And let's start with the presentation. I have a few friends here in front of me, so I like to keep this interactive. I'll like you guys answer if I have any questions, and if you have any questions, I'll be equally happy to answer. And same goes online. I'll see the chats if they come up. Few things about me were introduced, and they don't, they do more than what is required for me as justice, and I'm very thankful for that. I have been in the markets for the last 7 years. I got into the markets when I was very young. Second year of my college, I had a demat in my name, and has taught me a lot of things. I had awful experience. I have wonderful experiences, and that is what makes you a better investor. So, topic that we have today is the final topic of this capital market series, which is about the golden rule. That is rules that you think will survive the test of time, and the right psychology for investing. See what makes the difference, as our chairperson also said, that is your psychology, because everyone is buying and selling the same shares. So what makes you different is the psychology that you have. And considering that, we'll try to decode and encode whatever these psychological features and golden rules are. So we'll start with what are the golden rules that you should have. So golden rules are rules that should stand the test of time. It starts today and it goes on till the time you are investing. That is hopefully the kind of rules that we'll want, and they should be applicable to various asset classes and various time horizon. Time horizon could be high inflationary scenarios, could be low interest rate, high interest rate, and should be consistent and should be applied across geographies. Now, you don't want to be an investor who just invest in one country. Everyone has aspirations of investing globally these days, and accordingly, we'll need rules that can, will help us even investing globally. Now, when we look at this, we'll need a proof of concept that these things, they do actually work. And getting a proof of concept is not possible in the future. We'll need to see if they've worked in the past to establish that proof of concept. And they should be easy to interpret and implement. I don't want to give you a model which has equation and you'll have to get a data scientist degree for that and then come up with those golden rules. No, it should be very easy and should be implementable at the same time. So now let's see what these rules are. So are they as easy and easily accessible like the golden rules of account? I think there are 3 golden rules of account that we all know. And you give any accounting entry to me today also, we can apply those 3 rules and go ahead with that entry, right? So no, our golden rules are not like that, because markets are a battleground where man and machine has become, I'll tell you, US data says that 70% of the trades are algo. So it's more machine than man these days. And short-term market can remain highly volatile. We have seen instances of that very many times. And rules can be challenged with manipulation, like recently what happened with Jane Street. So as you all know, Jane Street is a algo trading firm which operated in India and made massive gains in the last few period. And these gains then, is the screen, I'm getting a message, please go full screen. If the screen shared is complete, right? Yeah, fine.
सर आपका
Thank you.
स्क्रीन डुप्लीकेट करिए सर, आपका स्क्रीन डुप्लीकेट नहीं हुआ है सर, एक्सटर्नल है, विंडो पी दबाइए, डुप्लीकेट हो जाएगा सर। वहां पे हो रहा है, यहाँ पे लैपटॉप में नहीं दिख रहा सर, सामने टीवी में डुप्लीकेट दिख रहा है, यहाँ पे नहीं दिख रहा है लैपटॉप में। क्या ऊपर देखिए, वहां पे देखिए डुप्लीकेट का ऑप्शन है, यहाँ पे बीच में ना, स्लाइड शो जो एंड स्लाइड शो के बाजू में देखिए लिखा हुआ है बीच में, ऊपर जाइए, ऊपर जाइए, ऊपर जाइए।
Yeah, sorry. Is it fine? No, it's fine.
अभी से स्लाइड शो करिए।
Fine.
Yes.
So sorry. So coming back to where we started, where we stopped, and then are these rules relevant enough? Like when we can say that they can be manipulated, like Jane Street that done, and it's not very important that we go on one example, but markets have been manipulated very many times in the recent past. And then why do we need some rules that can be manipulated easily? So yes, you need them because for the long term, you can't manipulate everything for every time frame, and it's more important to question your behavior over the models that we have built. How are you responding to these temporary phases of the market, and have you stayed in the game for long enough to understand that rules matter? So coming to that set of criteria, now famous investors from US, I'd want you guys to answer if you know any. Warren Buffett. So that has to be the first answer, and you will see my confidence. Warren Buffett, because everyone knows about him. Any other famous investor from US? We can see. You can put it. Yes, I'll see the chats. Charlie Munger, we'll see with Warren as Berkshire is itself. Benjamin Graham is like godfather to Warren Buffett. He's excellent. Any else? I'm reading the chat as well as you guys if you have any answers. Rakesh, no, that won't happen. George Soros is right, but George Soros is from, no, he is technically British citizen. So you'll have to, Soros is there. Naval Ravikant is a very good guy. Peter Lynch is there. Yes, Lynch is very famous. Any else? Because this guy who I'm going to introduce has beaten market left, right, and center for 20 plus years. He has given like result which is 3 times better than Warren Buffett. But I don't think a lot of people like might know him. I think we don't have the answer here. And we'll go back to my presentation. So one is Warren Buffett that everyone knows about. And the second is Jim Simons. So I'm very sure that how many of you know about Jim Simons? So this is going to be an interesting hour that you will give me, because Jim Simons has beaten, he has beaten everyone left, right, and center. No one can come close to his returns, and very unfortunate that he died last year at the age of I think 87. Now we'll see these two investors in their journey. So Buffett and Simons have different approaches, but shared success. They are the two best investors I know, and I adore. And I like to learn as much as possible from these learnings. And I like you also to go on the journey. Warren has 2 rules. That is very easy, right? Can someone tell me those 2 rules? I'll see the chat also. Just 2 rules, right? Very easy, guys. Yeah, never lose money. Thank you, Praveen. So, never lose money is the first rule. Second rule, yeah. So very easy, right? Just 2 rules. So we'll see that these 2 rules are the most important rules as per Warren Buffett, the guy who has made the highest possible fortune from a market. Simon does not have a rule, he has a system. So which is rather difficult to follow, but we'll see what we can learn from the system. So now the golden rule number 1, both of them has, is think long term. Buffett is a buy and hold guy, as we all know. He'll set on his investments for a very long period of time. Few investments that I know of are McDonald's, Coke. These are investments that he has held for like decades now altogether. Apple is his biggest investment as of now, which he bought only when it was a very mature company. Surprisingly, he's not a very early investor, but a big investor in Apple. Simons has long-term consistency via short-term trades. It's a different approach, but he has a simple system that he will not break. He'll follow that system to the core, and I think he has taken that system to grave. He'll not forget that system till you die. It's all about commitment to a proven model that an investor has. Now we'll see. Golden rule number 2, both of them does is do your research. Buffett supposedly reads 500 pages every day. I think we read that much in a month or something like that. But at 94, I'm not very sure that he's reading 500 pages every day. Simons uses petabytes of data and algorithms for his trading. And both of them, they'll rely on deep informed decisions. See, this is important. Your trading, when you're doing it or investing, you'll have to have a simple rule that why am I doing this? You have to answer why. अरे आज अच्छा लग रहा है, आज buy कर लेते हैं, आज अच्छा लग रहा है, आज sell कर देते हैं. ऐसा करेंगे तो भाई कोई आपका होना नहीं है. 1-2 दिन. See, market has a winner's curse. हम लोग इसको winner's curse बोलते हैं. As soon as you enter the market, you'll make few good trades and you'll think that अगला राकेश झुनझुनवाला मैं ही हूँ. आपकी starting ही वैसी होगी. In the chat, if someone has the same experience that you start with the market gives you return and you feel that you are doing very good. It's winner's curse. सबको लगता है. Even I made a lot of money in the first trades. और मेरे को भी लगा कि I am the next Rakesh Julian वाला. Let's see how that dream goes. But till time, this is what happens. So you don't have to forget rule number 2. You need to know why you are doing what. Rule number 3 is diversify wisely. See, Warren has focused portfolio. He has diversified across sectors. Now, one of his famous market is Japan. So after a lot of time, he has come back to Japan, and Japan is his favorite market right now. Outside US, still he's predominantly a US guy and holds US. He has a very famous quote known as "Never go against US." That means never short sell US markets. That is his quote. So a very bullish guy and has always been bullish on US. Now Japan is his biggest holding apart from US. Simon had broad exposure across markets and strategies. Simon used to work in forex contracts, works in commodity, did work in futures across the globe. And do I agree with them? Diversify? I don't. So basically, diversification is good when you have a lot of capital and you need to protect it. When you are an individual young investor, a lot of diversification. यार तुम 15-20 स्टॉक खरीदोगे तो कैपिटल ही खत्म हो जाएगा ना. So you'll have to see where you are in your market cycle positions. Now, someone like me, when I'm managing something close to 5 and 10 CR, I'll have to diversify. But if I have 1 lakh rupees to put, I think 3 or 4 quality research stocks is something that you should do. So you should not take every advice as it is. You'll have to think on the advice also. Tomorrow, if you go ahead with investing after listening to my talk, it is not important to implement 100% of what I say, because it might not be or might be 100% not applicable to you. So you'll have to see what is applicable and take the best of it. Rule number 4, which they have, is invest in what you know. We call this investing in circle of competence. You'll have to invest in your circle of competence, things that you know. CA guys are, my experience has been that we are very good at understanding the financials very well. We do very good investing in banks, NBFC, things like that, which we understand. Now, tomorrow, I'm very sure if I give you a chemical company in India, how good are you? As good as any other guy. But if I give a chemical engineer who knows which component is made where, and I tell him that tomorrow we'll see, I think methanol is going to crash, and then he has to know which company used that as raw material, who has derivatives from methanol, whose derivative sales are going to get impacted because methanol price is dropping, and then he'll come up with a company. So tomorrow, let's say soda ash prices are going to follow. Now I follow markets for more than 5 years. I know Tata Chemicals has the biggest exposure to soda ash in terms of revenue. Now I know Tata Chemicals is a clear short if soda ash is going down. But do you know? No, because it's outside your circle of competence. So basically, you'll have to know more. Make the most by knowing more. The more you know, the more you can do. Now it's not going to happen overnight. You'll have to read and listen to a lot of things to get that exposure. So Buffett avoids everything that is. So you go to him and tell him buy Bitcoin. He has a very good statement. If I collect every Bitcoin possible, which is existing on Earth today, is it of any value to me? The same thing he has said on gold. Is it of any value to me? No. Then he will not buy it because he needs cash yielding assets, dividends, capital appreciation from shares, things like that. So he will never invest in something like that. He has been a very good proponent of saying no to gold and Bitcoin, things that we say are safe assets. Bitcoin is not a safe asset, but when you think of it, it's a direct derivative to a alternate currency. That is why we treat it as an asset class. Simons has a very simple funda that I'll work on proven strategies. There is something called as back testing, where you go back and look at your trades, what trades you have made, also the trades if you would have made using a model that you have developed today, and backtest it for 20 years, 10 years, and then see is it working? How good is it working? And something like that. So you need insights and you need to invest in things that you know about. Now, elimination is equally important. So the more you know about something, the more you know that you don't want to do it. So tomorrow, if I give you a pharmaceutical company and analyze it, you don't know how to analyze it and you don't have the adequate research for it. So it's much better that you eliminate that sector if you are not capable enough. So elimination is equally important, which will only come from knowledge. Rule number 5 is don't follow the crowd. Buffett is a very big contrarian. He has been known for buying when everyone is selling and selling when everyone is buying. I think that guy sits on somewhere around 4% of combined US treasury available in US. Can you imagine? जितना यूएस में डेट पॉसिबल है उसका 4% बर्कशायर हैथवे ओन करता है. दैट इज द अमाउंट ऑफ ट्रेजरी बिल ही ओन्स. दैट इज अ वेरी बिग नंबर. That amount of cash can give you a lot of money when you need it. When the market is falling. Is the market falling? We never know. But if it falls, I think Warren Buffett has a gold mine. Simon's profit from market inefficiencies, derivatives is one of the key reasons for his growth and success. And is the crowd always wrong? I'll say no. If at 9,000 Nifty, which was very close to COVID, 7,500 was bottom, but we can't catch bottom. If 9,000 everyone is buying, will you just go contrarian and sell Nifty again at 9,000? You will look stupid after 5 years because it is at 25,000. So is being contrarian always right? No. But you'll have to know when you have to get in the position and see why the crowd is doing what. Again, we come back to the same point. Understand why and what are you doing. If we have any messages on the chat, just let me know. You can interrupt me in between if there is something like that. Because I have people here, I'm looking at them and answering their questions. If there is anything online, I'll be more than happy. Then rule number 6, manage risk. Risk is the ultimate philosophy that you should have as an investor. You are not buying companies for return. You are buying companies to manage risk. That is simple. I met Devina Mehra. She's a very good fund manager. First Global Security is the name of the firm. And Devina ma'am manages somewhere, I think 10,000 crores. Now, what I learned from her was that you are paid to be a better risk manager, not a fund manager. You have to manage risk for people who are investing crores and crores. And the outcome will be better returns. The more you manage your risk, the better is an outcome. So if you want to be a good fund manager, she said, manage your risk better. You'll be one of the best. She has done exceptionally well. I am giving you names because I want you to go back and look at these people, understand their profile. Devina ma'am was the first female Bombay Stock Exchange member. So a lot of insights from her book. You can definitely go there. And so Buffett buys with margin of safety. He has a principle that if I'm buying something below its intrinsic value, I'm sure to make money. So if something is good at 10 rupees and you get it at 8 rupees, you're buying a margin of safety, right? Because 10, it is okay value. It can still be overvalued from there. And we have seen if markets are overvalued, they can be overvalued for a lot of period of time. You cannot, and they also remain undervalued for a long period of time. The whole depression phase of US market was there for 8 years when the Great Depression happened in the 1920 and 30s. So we all have seen the better side of market. When it goes down, and it is really painful. I was just listening to Ramdev Agrawal a day back, and he told me that the profit that they had in 2008, which is the peak of the cycle, only came back in 2018. 10 years, they did not achieve that profit run rate because that was created in the top cycle of the market. And that only happened after 10 years. 18 is also not very great year if you follow markets. The small cap, mid cap correction happened in 18. So you can imagine that when markets do well, they do really well, and they don't do well, they don't do well for a very long period of time. So risk is something that you'll have to manage. Now coming back to the next rule. Be patient and disciplined, something we cannot do in this young age. एक रील ही नहीं समझ में आती अपने को तो अपन तुरंत दूसरी देखते हैं, तो क्या पेशेंट रहेंगे ना. But that is the difficult part. See, markets will have a lot of cycle. They'll traumatize you. The more money you put, the more trauma you are getting. You don't enjoy returns after a point of time because the whole point is अब ये यहाँ से गिरेगा तो कितना गिरेगा. So you will have to see that you have to be very patient and disciplined. This is one of the, when someone tells me investing is easy, I laugh. And I laugh till the other guy is not offended because I want to offend him. It is really difficult. It is the most difficult profession in the world. That is why it is handsomely rewarded and paid. अगर इजी होता तो हर बंदे को आप बोलो पैकेज मिल रहा है कि 1-2 करोड़ का फंड मैनेजर. Parag Parekh, I was at Flames University recently, and I was there for a residential course, 2-day course, and Parag Parikh's top team, CEO, CIO over there, and it was about electronic manufacturing scheme. It was a 2-day residential course. And then randomly, because when you are learning from someone that big, आप उनकी salary देखना चाहोगे. तो मैंने पता नहीं राजीव भाई देख ना ले, इनकी सैलरी है 17 करोड़, तो आई वाज लाफिंग, 17 करोड़ रुपए अगर किसी को सैलरी मिल रही है तो ही इज डूइंग समथिंग फिनोमिनल, राइट? एंड वी से दैट इन्वेस्टिंग इज इजी. सो द compensation is tight because the success ratio is very poor. So you'll have to be very patient and disciplined to get to gather those results. It's not a very easy thing to do. And so market, this is some, I think Anand Ladda said this. He's a fellow CA and CFA colleague, and he said that markets reward someone who is not in an immediate rush to make money. If you come here and you want returns tomorrow, I'm very sure the only thing you are getting is loss. And if you come here and say, I don't need this money for 10 years, भाई निफ्टी का 20 ईयर का कैगर है 12%. 12% तो सिर्फ इंडेक्स फंड में डाल के बैठने से बन रहा है. So you have to have the philosophy that I don't need this money today, and that is why we say equity returns you'll have to see in 5 year, 7 year kind of block. They are not your everyday return. आज खरीदा कल बनाया, कल खरीदा परसों बनाया, फिर third day you lose everything. So that is very important. Golden rule number 8 is monitor and adapt. They did this really well. They respond to a business change, like buying Apple after it is fully discovered in 2016 at a premium valuation with a 5% stake in the company is what Warren does. This is also done very well by Mayoshi Son, who is I think he is the CEO and the chair for SoftBank. So SoftBank was Nvidia's biggest shareholder at a point of time, and the ability to see things in future and understand them, and then taking these big bets is something that visionary investors can do. And you need to monitor and adapt every single day to understand things where they're going. I know of a company which is called as ASML. It's a Dutch company, and the company makes the arm. There is a semiconductor arm. That arm is the machine that enables the fabric, that the fabrication unit that we have. It's called as वेफर. सेमीकंडक्टर का जो वेफर होता है ना, उसको जो बना के केपेक्स में यूज करती है वो कंपनी है ASML. I was shocked when I saw who is the biggest shareholder. It is again SoftBank. 90% of that company, the only company that can make semiconductor arms. Look at that guy, the vision he has. So you'll have some. I'm very sure हम लोग 90% of the company नहीं खरीद सकते, but at least we can put our capital there, right? Simons was completely optimizing his strategies and looking at the data set. Please tell me if there are any messages on the chat, right? And change is the only constant, as we all know. And in markets, if you know of experts जिनको आप फॉलो करते हो, आज बाय बोल रहे हैं कल सेल बोल देंगे. मुझे बहुत मजा आता है जब मैं टेक्निकल एनालिस्ट को सुनता हूँ ना टीवी पे. आज सारे के सारे आई थिंक मार्केट क्रैश सम गुड 1.5% टुडे मिड कैप इंडेक्स. सो आज ये सारे सेल बोल के गए होंगे. BTS की ट्रेड्स होता है ना आखिरी का 20 मिनट. अब कल देखना अगर गलती से बाजार बढ़ गया कल या नहीं मंडे, दे विल ऑल बाय. हाउ कैन यू चेंज योर व्यू इन सच शॉर्ट नोटिस? मेरे लिए तो बिल्कुल पॉसिबल नहीं है, बट पीपल डू. सो I think then you will have to change your view every second, but you'll have to monitor and adapt to data which is coming in. Now let's go to, so here is the data that you all would like to know. Buffett versus Simons, the clash of titans, the biggest two investors of US. Value investing is one's philosophy, quantitative and algorithmic is others. Assets, primarily it is US focused for Warren, and Jim Simons could buy anything and everything that he understands and has exposure to. Strategy is buy and hold for Warren Buffett, which I'll tell you he's not doing in the last 2-3 years. Last, I think 5 years, Warren Buffett is selling everything in 1.5 years if it is not working for him. So I think even he is adapting and changing to his buy and hold strategy because market is actually that volatile. उनकी strategy में कोई गलती नहीं है, but इतने volatile market में you cannot buy and hold companies which are not doing and executing really well. And Simons have an active short-term trading philosophy. Now returns. Annualized returns for Berkshire is 20%. Medallion is 66. This is annualized CAGR, 66%. And his fees was one of the highest that I've ever heard of. We're making net 40%, which is very good. But imagine what he's making on fees. 20% का fee industry में unheard है. No one has the premium audacity of coming and saying, I will charge 20%. No one. And I say no one, I mean no one can does that. Only he had that capacity. And by the time the fund ended, they almost bought back everything that investors had. It was more like a privately owned company by Jim Simons. He paid every investor the amount he wanted and took everything that they had in the fund. period of holding is decades. For Jim, it could be from seconds to days. Risk management, margin of safety, and here he'll have mathematical constraints that we call as stop loss these days. An investor, the investment driver was always business fundamentals for Warren, and for Jim it was statistical patterns. What he had, he has a algo which I think is patented and proprietary to the firm, and that is the reason that they were able to make so much money. Now this is the exact part: 1965 to 2024. If you will see, that is a 20% CAGR for Berkshire. So when you look at 20% CAGR, it looks very small. Over that period of time, I think the number of zeros we have here is 5. So it is like more like 55 lakh. I don't know if you can understand it. एक रुपए डाला तो 55 लाख हो रहा है. That is the total return that happens just on a mere 20% compounding. I'm telling you, India will do 14, 15 very easily. And if you guys put money today and look at it while you retire, you will remember me. Then Simon with Medallion, that is the fund name, has 66 gross, 37 net. For reference, if 1988 में $1,000 डालते तो 42 million. 2021 में अभी तो और 3-4 साल में आराम से डबल हुआ रहेगा. So $1,000 becoming 42 million is something that is possible and has happened in the markets. I don't know why we are afraid of markets every day. And S&P in the meantime has delivered something very nominal, which is still good because S&P में भी बहुत पैसा बना if you would have invested. That is the only question, if you would have invested. I was reading an article today. Average holding period of a mutual fund investor in India is only 2 years. Very sad. You leave the funds in 2 years and you expect you make these returns that some great investor has made. So I think you're not being reasonable. Now, key takeaways that I have, I'll definitely want to listen to your takeaways as well. It's different styles, but same discipline. Discipline is stick to what you know, stick to something that has worked, and please stick to it. Don't change it. Golden rules, simple. Discipline beats emotion. You have to be very disciplined as an investor. If you are not, God forbid, आपका पैसा नहीं बनने वाला. You don't need to beat the market. Every time you feel that I have to make more money than someone else, you are comparison is a thief of joy. आप जब जब खुद को कंपेयर करोगे किसी के रिटर्न्स के साथ, आप अपनी परफॉर्मेंस और खराब करो. You just need to stand till the market stands. You have to beat it not in terms of return, but in terms of time. I'll share a small anecdote. There are 2 funds or 3 funds in India which have completed now 30 years. Surprisingly, the people who have held these from the starting, हम लोग NFO बोलते हैं ना जब नया फंड आता है, न्यू फंड ऑफरिंग. NFO में जिन्होंने लिया और आज तक रखा है, उसमें से 4 लोग मर चुके थे, इसीलिए उनके पैसे पड़े रह गए. 2 को याद नहीं रहा कि उन्होंने ऐसी जगह पैसा डाला. सिर्फ 6 लोग ऐसे थे जिन्होंने NFO में 30 इयर्स तक पैसा रखा है. People who didn't know they have. जिनके पास भी आइडिया, अच्छा फॉर रेफरेंस आई टेल यू दैट ग्रू अप सम 300 टाइम्स. 300 गुना हुआ था वो पैसा. So imagine putting an NFO in the starting and sitting it on 30 years can bring you that wealth. But no one made it. Only people who thought it was never existing or people who don't exist now. So basically my rules are very simple and most of you will still fail and I fail. Buy low, sell high. We do the complete opposite. हम लोग गिरते बाजार में बेच के भाग जाते हैं, बढ़ते बाजार में वापस लेने आ जाते हैं. So ठीक है यार, सबके साथ होता है. It is a common phenomenon of the market. That is why the second part of the presentation, psychology, that we'll have to develop, you and I together. Bear markets will give you the best returns of your life. अब सुनते हैं ना हम लोग अंकल लोगों को, कोविड में पैसा बनाया, कोविड में पैसा, और कोविड में लोग मर रहे थे यार, इकोनॉमी की हालत खराब थी, क्या हो रहा था, पैसा कैसे बन गया? पैसा बेयर मार्केट में बनता है. प्रॉपर्टी में लोगों ने सबसे ज्यादा पैसा बनाया 2008 में, जब वो क्रैश होने के बाद ना आधे आधे रेट पे मिल रही थी. यूएस में देयर आर पीपल हु हैव मेड देयर रियल एस्टेट पोर्टफोलियो इन 2008 क्रैश. I have seen, I can't recollect the name here. It's a very good guy. He at one point of time he owned 40% of Florida. So I'm sorry, I am not able to recollect the name. I'll give it to you if I remember again. So no stock is good enough to chase without research. आप बिना रिसर्च के चेस कर भी लोगे कोई स्टॉक को तो कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. यू डोंट नो व्हेन टू सेल इट बिकॉज यू डोंट नो हाउ टू वैल्यू इट. Borrowed conviction and capital are injurious to returns. Borrowed conviction यानी मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये ले ले, आप आज ले लोगे, कल वो 5% गिरा, आप बेच दोगे, कल वो 15% वापस बढ़ जाएगा, फिर आप बोलोगे अपना तो हो गया है. तो borrowed conviction नहीं, conviction खुद का होना चाहिए. You need your own conviction. And borrowed capital. Never ever take loan to buy shares. If you do that, that is the only way you will lose your capital plus someone else's capital and be indebted to them throughout your life. Never. Start small, but don't take loans. SIP is the best tool if you don't understand anything. मेरे इतने समझाने के बाद भी नहीं समझा तो छोड़ देने का. SIP करने का 30 years बैठे तो 300 times होता है, right? There is always a bull market in some place. Even today, stocks like IEX went 30% down. Yesterday was up 10% today, right? ऐसे markets में भी there is always a bull market someplace. I think there were a couple of more companies which got some excellent results. And then trend isn't always your friend. If you go with the trend always, it's not going to help you. But it's a very good saying in the market that, you know, be with the trend. And that is 90% of the time true. You don't want to be counter trend in a counter trend and see that, oh, I'm not making results. But yeah, so basically, if you are seeing something very easily, you can see it, which is nicely valued. So I bought Zomato at 45. That is its lifetime low. And I bought it again at 50. I bought it again at 60. Bought it again at 70, 80. Last time I bought it was 240. Rakesh Junjunwala did the same thing with Titan. एक दिन में टाइटन का 5-7% नहीं आता पोर्टफोलियो में. You'll have to buy it through. Zomato is one company on which I'm very bullish. At the end, I have a disclaimer. Don't take my stock advice. I am not a SEBI registered analyst. Please follow that. Stocks used here are just for example purpose. You buy it today, tomorrow, whenever the market opens and blame me for your losses, I'm not responsible. So this is the first part of the segment. I would invite questions ताकि मुझे भी थोड़ा सा रेस्ट मिल जाए. And if there are any questions online, I'll be more than happy. Any questions? I don't have questions in the class. I don't think I have questions online. Yeah, can you suggest some good investing books? Yeah, I'll do that at the end, definitely. And the best book that everyone should read, that it's by Benjamin Graham and The Intelligent Investor. And it's a very big book. I have not read it. It was also recommended to me by someone. And they say it's a very good book. I am horrible at reading. I listen. If someone is like me who is horrible at reading, please listen. Listen to podcasts, listen to interviews, listen to anything that you can do, because listening is far more easier. So let's get back to the next topic again. Yeah. Mutual fund, you're buying a fund. ETF, you're buying an exchange traded fund. Exchange trading is because that is traded on the exchange, and it is a component of an exchange. So Nifty ETF will have all the shares that Nifty has, but a mutual fund has a discretion because a fund manager is buying and selling on your behalf. So he can invest into anything depending on what fund you are taking. We can discuss this after the presentation in detail if you want. So I'm going to the second part of the topic, and that is okay. Now, as you said, mutual funds. I'm missing the best days. This is a study which was done 2 years, 3 years back, again done this year. And if you miss just the top 10 best days in the market, what happens to your returns? Any guess? Any wild guess? I like answers online also if there are people participating. If you just miss the top 10 days, how much will your return be impacted? You can give a percentage also, like if 100% is the total returns made, top 10 days अगर miss हुए तो 80 बनेंगे, 70 बनेंगे 100 की जगह. No impact in long term. if you miss the top 10 days. That is an answer we have here. Any answers? Guys, थोड़ा vibrant रहो यार, ऐसे मत बैठो. हाइब्रिड को वर्चुअली कर लेता है, वैसे ही वर्चुअल हो रहा है. एक गेस मारने का ना कुछ नहीं होता लाइफ. 40% returns will be gone. Okay, great. Any other answer? 60. Do you have any answer? Nothing. Okay. Chalo, 5%. We have few answers here and there now, and we'll see what will happen. So this is what will happen to your returns. If I put 10,000 in 2001 and just keep it invested till whatever date this research was done, I think it was done in 24 by End Money, you'll have 3,25,000. This is an index fund considering Nifty. Yeah, Nifty was there in 2001. Should be Nifty. Just top 10 days, 56% of your returns are gone, guys. Very close. Or closest styles. People who said nothing, I'm very sure about 10 दिन के लिए भी market नहीं छोड़ेंगे. And go for top 30 days. 87% of your returns are gone. Can you imagine what just 30 days can do to your investing journey? You should not be afraid of any falls in the market, because ये falls के जगह अगर gain वाले दिन कम होते हैं ना, तो ऐसा होता है. So this is one thing that I wanted to share with you guys. I think the people who gave me a message online, guys, please, Deep Shah, nothing mat bol yaar. 80% is a very harsh. That was in 30 days. So yes, we are close to there. It's a surprising fact, and was surprising for me also, that how can just 10 days erase this big a return. Coming back to our topic, are rules enough? I wish they were. You will need more. What you will need is the right psychology. There's nothing called as right psychology that exists, but for time being, we'll discuss what is psychology in itself. So some trivia on psychology. The word psychology comes from Greek word psych and logos, that is the study of mind. William Wooden, the father of modern psychology, and he was the first one who did a psychology lab. This is in Leipzig, Germany, and before this, it was, a branch of philosophy. So this was very interesting. I thought I'll get some data on it because to educate myself and you. Now, things that I got out of it is there is a Dunning-Kruger effect where people tend to overestimate their abilities, especially in the area where their knowledge is weak, which happens with everyone in market. हमारा market में efficiency इतना poor है, हमको ऐसे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता. We have not seen markets, but we'll be the most overconfident. अगर कल सुबह एक stock market discussion start हो जाए तो हमको पता है कल क्या होने वाला है. So this is an effect, and there is a serial position effect which was very interesting for me. I think हम सबके साथ होता होगा, that we remember information at the very beginning and at the very end, not in the middle. So I kept this in the middle. I'm very sure आप लोग ये भूल जाओगे. And then psychology has topics ranging from brain chemistry, mental health, learning, perceiving human relationships. So basically, it's an evolved 200-year-old science, not 200 now. I think that if it is in, yeah, like 130, 140 years old science, relatively new. हम लोग इस field को नया बोलेंगे. Right psychology. What is right psychology for you? It is perfecting your behavior for investing is a myth. होता ही नहीं है. You cannot train yourself to be a good investor by having the right psychology. We all have our biases. We are very prone to it, which are formed both consciously and subconsciously. Reversing them is very difficult. Educating yourself and self-introspection, that is your only way out of breaking your biases. You have to react less, respond more. This is something it was given to me by my mentor, that every condition that you have in your life, you'll have to respond to it. When you respond, and I say I'm responding to you, I think. When I react, I don't think. Thinking is the key element. Now, this is what happened at Flames University. I was at Flames, and while campus tour, there was a section in the library which was called Library of Mistakes. So I was very keen. I asked the tour guide, what is Library of Mistakes? He told me these are the books. And this is the only library of mistake in India. Flames only has it. It's a segment which we have seen in foreign libraries a lot, and the only Indian place that has a library of mistakes is Flames. It is about books that tell you what you should not do in life rather than what you should do in life. So it's a negative component of things which you should not do. So that is what I'm trying today. After getting inspired from this, we are trying to do things that we should not do to develop a right psychology. So there are behavioral biases. Biases are what stops you from getting a sound psychology ready. Biases comes from deviation from rationality and judgment or decision making. These things are affected from our biases. There are majorly two types of biases. One is cognitive, which is stemming from faulty reasoning, statistical or memory issues, and these are easy to correct. Then there is emotional biases that we have. There are emotional grudges that we have. These things take time. अगर आपको किसी के ऊपर एक बार इमोशनल ग्रज आ गया तो जितना टाइम आपको लगता है सेम बायस में आपको टाइम लगेगा. Now, cognitive errors. I'll go through the errors a bit fast because these are something that I cannot explain to you in like half an hour. But these are things that you should go and read about when you go back. So there is conservatism bias where जो हम लोग हमारे घर में अगर आपके पापा एफडी वाले हैं तो उनको शेयर में पैसा डालने के लिए आप जाओगे तो ये बायस आपके सामने आएगा. कंजर्वेटिज्म कि नहीं यार 7% की एफडी में तो बहुत है, भले इन्फ्लेशन 6 हो, 7% की एफडी बहुत अच्छी है. थोड़े साल बाद एफडी में पोस्ट टैक्स हम लोग पैसा लूज कर रहे हैं, बट पापा क्या बोलते हैं, एफडी अच्छी है. So this is conservatism bias. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is something where I'm looking to find data on which I already have a bias on. So let's say tomorrow if I buy a stock, I'll only look at news which is confirming my view on the stock. कि अच्छा शेयर है, अच्छा शेयर. So I'm eliminating all the bad news on that stock. I'm only looking at the good news of that. Then you have representative bias where जो stereotype आपके पास already है, जब जो perceived similarities आपकी है, you will often keep that, ignoring what is happening. So if you make a view and then even after repeated data when it is coming you're not changing your view, then this bias is formed. Illusion of control that we all have कि ये तो हो जाएगा. CA students को तो बहुत लगता है ये तो हो जाएगा, जब तक होने होता है ना फिर तब तक सब हो जाता है. Then hindsight bias, something that अरे ये तो भी हमारे साथ बहुत होता है ना, biases CA स्टूडेंट्स के साथ आई फील बहुत होते हैं. पेपर आता है, पेपर देखते हैं और फिर यार पहले पता था मेरे को ये क्वेश्चन आने वाला है, ये टॉपिक आने वाला है, मैं पढ़ लेता तो मुझे लगा था ये आएगा. बाहर निकल के सब मुझे लगा था ये आएगा. अच्छा दोस्तों को और बोलते तेरे को पता है ना मैंने बोला था ये आएगा. अच्छा खुद तेरे को आया कि एग्जाम में नहीं आया, पर दोस्त को जरूर जाके बोलेंगे कि मेरे को पता था ये आएगा. So that is something we have. There are information processing biases in cognitive field. That is anchoring bias, where the first information that which is given to you, you'll have more focus on that, and then whatever existing data is coming on it, you won't have it. तो हम लोग पहली बारी अगर किसी को एंकर कर देते हैं बहुत अच्छे से कि ये चीज अच्छी है या बुरी है, उसके बाद any relevant data will not have much impact on it. Mental accounting bias, we treat money coming from different places with different view. So कोई रिश्तेदार आया 1000 रुपए देखेगा तो तुरंत खर्च कर सकते हैं. आर्टिकलशिप स्टाइपेंड से 1000 रुपए निकालना है, पहले तो बचते ही नहीं, निकालोगे कहां से. ठीक. Framing bias. Then framing bias is if I present to you an information 95% of success in something and 5% of failure together, then I am giving you a fair information. So let's say अगर मैं ऑपरेशन बेड पे हूँ और डॉक्टर आके बोलता है 95% चांस है आप सक्सेसफुली निकल जाएंगे, आई विल बी वेरी हैप्पी कि ठीक है सर्जरी अच्छी है, 95% चांस है. अगर डॉक्टर आके मेरे को फ्रेमिंग बायस में उल्टा बोलता है 5% चांस है हम लोग इसके बाद शायद ना मिले, so I am framed in a risky manner. This is what happens when you are framed in the market. आप जब भी कोई प्रोडक्ट इसके बाद खरीदे, इन्वेस्ट करे, किसी को भी बता, you see how you are framing it, right? Availability bias, we try to give जो याद आता है उसको ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं. एग्जाम में भी ऐसा ही होता है, रिवीजन कर रहे हैं सुबह, जो याद आता है उसी को बार बार पढ़ रहे हैं, बोले ये याद है इसको फटाफट रिवाइज कर लेते हैं, है ना. अपने को लगेगा अपन पढ़ के गए, उल्टा करना चाहिए, जो याद नहीं है उसको पहले देखना चाहिए. बट साइकोलॉजिकली यू वांट टू गो. हाँ एग्जैक्टली, आपको मेंटली थोड़ा सा बेटर जाना है. ये बायस में फंस रहे हैं आप, तो हम सब फंस रहे हैं. मैं भी ऐसे ही करता था तभी, पता है नहीं ऐसा थोड़ी नहीं करते. हम बन गए बस, तुम नहीं बने, उतना ही फर्क है. इमोशनल बायसेस दीज आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट, और ये एक बार स्कार कर देते हैं ना आपको इमोशनल बायसेस, तो ये आपका लाइफ टाइम तक डिफिकल्ट होता है इनसे बाहर आना. लॉस अवर्जन, हम लोग लॉस बुक नहीं करते. आप whenever you become a trader or investor in future, I would want you to cut your losses as fast as you can, because you think that यार ये अब 10% गिर गया है, ये भाव टू भाव बेच दूंगा. कितने लोगों को ऐसा लगता है भाव टू भाव बेच दूंगा इज अ सक्सेस? दैट इज अ क्लियर साइन ऑफ फेलियर. भाव टू भाव बेचना है, क्या मतलब है 10% ऊपर बेचना है भाव से? इन्वेस्टिंग उल्टा कर रहे हैं क्या हम लोग, कि भाव टू भाव बेचना है? बेचने का दूसरी चीज खरीदने का, उसको भाव से 10% ऊपर. हम सेम चीज को भाव टू भाव बेचने में रेडी है, मतलब हमारा कन्विक्शन कितना पुअर है उसके ऊपर. वी हैव टू फाइंड समथिंग बेटर. मेरा भी ऐसा ही था. अभी मेरे पास एक कंपनी है, इट इज कॉल्ड एज ड्रीम फोक्स. I did buy a position which was comfortable for me. It was like 1 or 2% of my portfolio only, but it's a specialized company. वो ना लॉन्च एग्रीगेटर है. मतलब हम लोग के पास बैंक के जो कार्ड्स होते हैं ना, हम लोग एयरपोर्ट जाते हैं, लॉन्च एग्रीगेटर लगता है एक, जो हमारे कार्ड पे लॉन्च एक्सेस है या नहीं वो लगा के देता है. ड्रीम फोक्स इज दैट कंपनी. They had a market share of 90% plus. Fundamentally, company was amazing. They IPO'd. I was a big investor. A lot of people invested. Big fund houses invested. Share went from somewhere around 170 to 800. बहुत तेजी में, आई थिंक एक साल के अंदर. शेयर एट 140 टू. You should never go and have a fight with someone who is way bigger than you. ये अडानी से भिड़ गए जाते. इन्होंने अडानी के 2 एयरपोर्ट्स पे लॉन्च एक्सेस ही बंद करा दी लोगों की. पीपल वर स्टैंडिंग इन क्यू. Why? Because Adani wanted to take over the launches himself. He wanted to keep the pile of revenue for him. They went against him, and then surprisingly, Axis and ICICI दोनों ने अपने कार्ड नेटवर्क इनके एग्रीगेटर से हटा दिए. Stock fell from 300 to 140. 50% of the earnings gone. I think बाकी कार्ड वाले भी ये कर देंगे. I'm sharing this to just give you a perspective that what can happen in investing. The moat of the company, which was there was the 90% market share in cards, was lost overnight like this. This can happen in investing. So loss aversion मैंने खुद भी पूरा नहीं बेचा. मैंने 300 पे, can you imagine, 50% of the quantity I sold and I said कि बाकी शायद 400 का कॉस्ट था मेरा. I was very early. मैंने सोचा बाकी 400 पे निकाल देता हूँ. अब 250-150 पता नहीं कहाँ निकलेगी. तो मेरे साथ भी होता है, सबके साथ होता है. बट एटलीस्ट आई न्यू हैव टू कट योर लॉसेस. तो मैंने आधी क्वांटिटी बेच दी, नहीं तो वो आधी भी मेरी कल्याण में आज ही 150 पे पड़ी रहती मेरे पास. Then you have overconfidence bias. सबको है. Everyone has. We all feel that we know more than what everyone else knows. Self-control bias. Delayed gratification is something that you should practice in your life. अगर आज 1 करोड़ कमा लिए ना, तो आज के आज ये नहीं देखना है कि उसको खर्च कैसे करना. Delayed, the more you delay gratification. Jeff Bezos was driving a Honda Civic, and he was $5 billion in net worth after founding Amazon. Till that time, he was in that single car. And हमने सुना है garages में कंपनी बनाई है. So Warren Buffett still has a home that he bought 60 years ago. तो इनको बस कोई पैसे की कमी थोड़ी है. But that's a principle you should have in life. I still can't do it, but I'll request you, let's try. Status quo bias. हम लोग we try to have the current situation, and we don't want to change our status on something, like I did with the Dream Folks thing. कि ठीक है, जैसा है वैसा चलने दो, बाद में करते हैं. Endowment bias. Just because I own something does not mean that I don't have to sell it. So famously, I never wanted to sell HDFC Bank in my life. I have a Apple Pencil on which it is engraved, never sell HDFC Bank, because I thought that is the best company you could buy. Surprisingly, I sold it when a similar profile bank was available at half its valuation. So endowment bias is something that I had earlier, but I came out of it. I still have a few shares on which I have endowment bias because I own them. I feel they're very good, but a good investor will never have that bias with them. Regret aversion bias. Actions due to fear of regret. अरे यार ये नहीं करेंगे तो कैसा. फोमो में जब हम लोग चीजें खरीदते हैं, फोमो में जब हम लोगों को कॉपी करते हैं, that is your bias on that level. And now, how to get a head start? Biases I have told you about psychology, what you can do. These biases you'll have to eliminate. There are more biases, definitely, इसके अलावा भी, but considering time, I thought these are the most important ones. Now, रीड एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स, इट्स अ नॉन नेगोशिएबल. अगर आप में से किसी ने भी आज तक एक भी एनुअल रिपोर्ट नहीं पढ़ी है, यू आर मिसिंग आउट. These days, company gives almost everything they know about themselves. You can know as good as a CEO knows about their company. At the current juncture of time, future नहीं पता चलेगा आपको, definitely CEO को ही ज्यादा पता रहेगा. But जिस दिन वो MDA analysis बनता है, there is a management discussion analysis, MDA. It's a beautiful thing to read. 20-30 pages में management अपने पूरे plans बताता है. क्या capex करेंगे, कहाँ करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, क्या strategy है, क्या नहीं है. It's a beautiful insight. Listen to experts on podcasts, business channels. Go listen to nice guys. Have a shortlisting. When I started, I was listening to every expert possible on TV. Now I have a set of few experts. उनकी वीडियो में जाके YouTube पे ढूंढ के सुन लेता हूँ कि नहीं, इसका एक भी नहीं छोड़ना है. और आप देखो, अब वो आदमी को सुनो जो आज जो बोल रहा है, उसके 1 साल बाद 2 साल बाद भी उसी फिलोसफी में बोल रहा है, बदल नहीं रहा रोज कि अभी ऐसा मार्केट है तो ऐसा बोलिए ऐसा. पीपल हु आर कंसिस्टेंट विद देयर थॉट्स, व्हाई? बिकॉज दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट थिंकर्स. नहीं तो कॉपी करके अपना कुछ बोल रहे हैं. So you'll have to shortlist it. Understand the macros. There is memo by Howard Marks. Howard Marks is the founder of Oak Tree Capital. Recently, he was in India. Oak Tree is now getting one of their biggest offices in Hyderabad. Memo is something that he writes, and he's a busy guy, but still writes something quarterly. No, not quarterly. I think fortnightly or monthly, and he'll give you a macro view on the whole world. Try to read more about the world. It's not just India. इंडिया क्या है आज की डेट में आपको पता है? ग्लोबल एसेट के हम लोग 3% ही है. इंडियन मार्केट इतना बड़ा होने के बाद भी सिर्फ 3% ऑफ ग्लोबल एसेट्स है. तो टुमारो इफ यू एस्पायर टू बी ए ग्लोबल फंड मैनेजर, इंडिया इज जस्ट 3% ऑफ व्हाट योर हेडेक इज. You need to learn more about what is the rest. Look at past companies of Nifty 50 and the present companies and see what survived and why it survived. So सेंसेक्स में शायद 7 ही कंपनियां ऐसी है 30 में से जो सेंसेक्स स्टार्ट हुआ था तब से अब तक. अब 6 हो जाएगी, आगे पीछे आई थिंक एक कंपनी निकलने वाली है. AI is a great tool here. आप you can go understand a company. सिर्फ मतलब I did it for the EMS sector. Just go एनुअल रिपोर्ट निकालो. एक तो एनुअल रिपोर्ट निकाल देगा, उसके बाद वही एनुअल रिपोर्ट को वापस अटैच कर दो एज अटैचमेंट और बोलो अब इसको समराइज कर. तो थिंग्स दैट यू शुड डू विद एआई एंड थिंग्स. हम लोग क्या गिल भी आर्ट बनवा रहे हैं उससे, पता नहीं क्या क्या करवा रहे हैं. एवरी हाई हेलो थैंक यू टू चैट जीपीटी कॉस्ट सो मच मनी गाइस, बट ठीक है, उनकी गलती, पैसे नहीं ले रहे हो. नाउ दिस इज समथिंग. सो व्हाइल वी वर डूइंग दिस टॉपिक and having a discussion on this with Jiten bhai, there came up a point where we were asked, why are we telling you guys so much about the options market during the series? And why are we pushing students to trading? The whole point is, I don't think we are trying to do that. We are trying to do exactly the opposite. But by giving you the reason, the why you should not do it. And if you want to do it, if that is your wish, then at least be well educated कि futures क्या options क्या, जो इन seminars में आप लोगों ने सीखा होगा. So how many of you here trade in FNO? Just a show of hand. And if we have people online, I would be very happy. Message karna please. People who are trading in FNO. 1, 2. Surprising, only 2. FNO? No? Good. Guys, no तो okay है. Yes भेजो यार. Yes वाले को समझाना है. We have 2 people here in this room. I think I can save a lot of money for them. I think online there is no one who is trading. Mostly सब नो ही आ रहा है. अगर कोई कर भी रहा है तो बता नहीं रहा होगा. So, few remarks on FNO by famous people. Warren Buffett calls them financial weapons of mass destruction. Rakesh Bhai said, if we trade in futures and options, we'll be without any purpose, then later we'll neither have any future nor we'll have any option left. Vijay Kedia has also called them as sin shares, something which is not prudent for those looking to build wealth steadily. These are people who have massive, massive wealth, right? The purpose of FNO and the reality that we have, these are instruments which were made for hedging and creating a leverage position, right? They're a tool for risk mitigation, not to be turned into a risky asset. जैसे आज के डेट में लोग इसको देखते हैं. There is no free lunch in the world. Quick returns are always deceptive. आपको आना ही नहीं है ये पैसा, because it's a zero sum game. Now institutional capital and hedge funds like Jane Street I know of a friend who works in Graviton. Graviton is a high frequency trading firm in Gurgaon. Graviton also made a lot of money last year. I think he is being paid somewhere around 70 to 80 lakhs. He's a triple IIT, some engineer, and I had a word with him when I was in Gurgaon. And what he's building is just a software for that company. Graviton pays that amount of money. जितना शायद लोगों का एफएनओ का कैपिटल ही नहीं है 70 लाख, और वो लोग उसके बाद उसके ऊपर पैसा बना रहे हैं. Do you think you have the tools to compete with them? If you have, then 100% you should go. 91% participants lose money. Average losses made by participants is more than a lakh. This is just data for FY22 to FY25 on FNO. Win loss ratio, 90% people are losing money. Net loss made is always going up. Average trader loss surprisingly नीचे आया है, but number of traders increase हो गए. That is an issue. So 1,05,603 crores lost by people like 1, 2. अरे लॉस है प्रॉफिट है? लॉस है प्रॉफिट है क्या? 600 है प्लस ट्रेडिंग फीस है, वो तो गिनते ही नहीं है, वो बाद में देखेंगे. 3.5 लाख है लॉस है, तेरा नंबर ये अलग से ऐड करेंगे. So thank you. This was the presentation. I now invite questions if there are any online, please, and offline as well. SIP is your savior. Yeah, long term. I just told you 30 years. 30 years में क्या हुआ लोगों के साथ? 300 times. NAV 300 गुना हुआ. Any other question online? If you have. No questions, then I'll keep it. FNO loss is excluding brokerage expense and go. Yes, Jagdish, right. So this FNO loss is excluding everything, demat fees and everything. What all sections to read from annual report? Mayank, MDA, management discussion and analysis, is something that I read because everything else is repetitive. So being CA guys, we all know how our annual general meeting happens and what things are given in the annual report. तो फिर एक cost auditor का section होगा, एक stat auditor का section होगा, फिर same चीज बार बार repeat होती है क्योंकि अलग अलग sections में directors report में भी same data आता है. तो multiple data comes up and I think the best part is you read MDA, then you read management का जो भी the word of the CEO, CFO. Look at their future plans. That is the most important thing. And auditor's remark, if there is any adverse remark, definitely something that you should see. Any other questions that we have online? I think we have just 5 minutes left. So even if after this you all have questions, you can probably scan this. This is my LinkedIn profile ID, link to my LinkedIn profile, and if you have any questions, I can take them up on LinkedIn. And yes, pretty much I think we have summed up. Scan हो रहे हैं?
Are we done, sir? Are there any questions left?
No, we don't have questions here. If there are any online, we'll see, or else we can conclude.
Okay, perfect. So with that being said, thanks a lot, Aditya sir, for your precious time. We have truly understood from scratch to scrap how exactly you analyze and understand not just stocks or stock tickers, but also beyond it. And with that being said, I would request you to share a few book recommendations as asked by a few participants.
Book requests. I don't read a lot of books these days, but The Intelligent Investor is one. Then one is by Peter Lynch. I think it's One Up on Wall Street. And Indian suggestions, you will have Devinath Mehra's book, Money, Myths and Mantra. That was a very good book. And apart from that, I think try to read more. So you can just go on YouTube, search for random recommendations, follow good content creators. Sadly, or I think luckily, I don't like to create a lot of content, so I don't do that. But there are a lot of good content creators online from where you can see the book recommendations and try to analyze. Some books are very complex. That is the whole issue. If I tell you a book today, it has to be something that will add value to you right now, not like 5 years later. So go for basic books, and that will be helpful.
Okay, thank you, sir. With that being said, I would now like to call upon Ms. Karishma Nathwani, Managing Committee Member of Vikasa WIRC, to officially close and provide a vote of thanks for the same.
Hello, everyone. As we conclude a very amazing and insightful session today, I would like to thank Aditya Khemani sir for such an amazing session. The audience were interactive throughout, and I'm sure they loved it. The session was truly amazing and had really good things to learn. Along with that, I would also like to thank Nagpur branch for hosting along with Team Vikasa. I would also like to thank WRC office bearers as well as Vikasa team that helped us in hosting this event. Our chairman, C. Ketan Seya sir, our vice chairman, C. Piyush Chandak sir, our secretary, C. Jeenan Savla ma'am, and our treasurer, C. Dr. Finansa sir, for their constant support throughout. Along with that, I would also like to thank our dynamic chairman, Sri Chitendra Saglani sir, for helping us in supporting such student-centric sessions. Along with that, I would also like to thank the volunteers and the Wings of Vikasa, Dhairya, as well as Tanishka for hosting such an amazing event. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the amazing audience for staying interactive throughout the session and for being with us till the end. Keep learning, keep growing, stay with us in the upcoming sessions of the Gyan Yagna series. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Karishma. And now, with that being said, we would be officially closing today's session. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. Do stay tuned for such upcoming sessions of Gyan Yagna. Thank you, everyone.